What's up, guys? Welcome to your 26th C++ tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build a function that allows the user to input their own elements in the array, or populate the array as some people like to call it. So let's go ahead and make an int function, and I'm going to name my populate, if I could spell it, and it's going to take some parameters, a double array, in case they enter decimal points. Actually, let's name it array1. I don't like naming stuff array for some reason. Int number, and this is going to be the number of elements in the array. So now that we got our function header, let's go ahead and make the function body. The first thing we need is a variable for when they input numbers. So let's go double input, and now we just need a counting variable, int I. And now let's just go make a for loop to loop through the array. So for, then put I set equal to 0, and then put when I is less than number, since this is the number of elements in the array, don't want to go outside that, I plus plus. So inside our for loop, what are we gonna have? There we go. Come on, space. Take me an hour to get my spaces right. Let me move this up a little bit in the meantime. So now in our for loop, what do we want to have? Well, let's just have a little prompt. Cout. Here's my darn spaces again. Enter value for item, and then we will put I plus 1. So let's go I plus 1. Put that in parentheses just to be sure. And why are we adding plus 1? Because the index of array 0 is actually the first item, so just to make it readable. Then we'll go ahead and end that line. And now what we need to do is whatever they input, well, let's go ahead and just put sin input, so whatever they input is going to be stored in the variable input. So now we want to take that variable and pass it into the array. So array1, actually array1, and put I, since it's just going to loop through just like it's spitting out an array, and you want to set this equal to input. So then whatever they input the first time, it's going to be stored in the first index of the array. It's going to loop through. Whatever they input the second time, it's going to be stored in the second index of array, and it's going to go on and on until it gets to the end of array, which we didn't tell you how many yet. So they're actually going to have to input a bunch of numbers, and then just return something like I. We won't use that, but we need to do something. And next we need to prototype this, of course. So copy, paste, clear semicolon, prototype it, and now we need to call it. So the first thing we need is an array. So put double Bucky, and let's just make it 5. You can actually make it whatever you want, and set it equal to an empty array, since they're going to be populating it. We don't need to, save us the work. Now we need to call our function populate and call Bucky and 5, since there are 5 elements right there. Now if we go ahead and run this right now, we're going to be able to, as long as I don't got any errors, which I probably do, to input a bunch of numbers in the array, and it's going to populate the array. So enter value for item 1, 23, and it's going to go all the way to 5, 56, and the 4, 4, 4. And now it does nothing. So what we want to do is, we already populated our array. So Bucky now has the values in each index, but it would be useful if we had another function just to spit out what we already did, so we know that, it was put to good use and not just a total waste of time. So let's go ahead and make a function to spit out all our data, just for looks. So I'll name it spit, and of course double, this is the same as before, array, spell that right, array1, square brackets, and int number. And now in your function body, what are we going to do for this? Make sure I got my header right, double array1, looks good to me. Well, we're just going to have a basic for loop. This is going to be even easier than the last one. Int I equals 0. Let me move my cursor out of the way. As long as I is less than number, and another semicolon, and just iterated through. Looking good, looking good. So now this is going to go through the array, and let's just put cout the value of item. Make sure you get your spaces. I+1 is in. Make sure you put spaces on either side of that. Is array 1, and then put your I. So this is going to loop through the array, and it says the value of item 1, and it's going to give you the 1. And then it says the value of item 2, and then it's going to give you the 2. So that's all we need for this function. See how easy that was? So let's go ahead and prototype this by copying the header, copy, and then go ahead and just pasting it, adding a semicolon. And now that, oh, you guys didn't even see that, did you? Well, there it is, right there. And now all we have to do is call it. So once we populate it, let's just go ahead and spit Bucky 5. So now that we populated our array, all we have to do is spit it out. So let's go ahead and compile and run that. And come on, no whammy, no whammy. I got an error because I didn't have a semicolon. But bam, semicolon. Now look at it. Compile and run. Come on, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Big money, big money. Bam, that's what I'm talking about. Enter value for 1. 23, 54, 56, 6, and 7. And then it says the value of item 1 is 23, the value of item 2 is 54, on and on. And we could even simplify that even more by putting an end line right there. So now, once you do this one more time, promise this is the last time, unless I just type something wrong really quick. Let's put 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Bam. Wow, that is a beautiful program. The value of item 1 is 4. As you can see, 1, 4, 2, 5. Don't need to read them all for you. You can probably read them yourself. But that is the basics of how to use a function. Let me see. Let me get it back. How you use a function to populate an array right here, and then how you use another function just to spit out all your answers after you populate it. And again, don't forget the prototype up here, and don't forget to call your functions, obviously. So that is your quick tutorial. The main thing I wanted to show you guys is how to populate an array. So all that other stuff was just a little bonus. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure, please, subscribe to my channel if you want to get all my latest videos. And once you did, you're ready to move on to the next video. So again, thank you guys, and I will see you next tutorial.